Welcome everyone to this session on Introduction to Data Science by Edvancer. Let me quickly take you through what is the agenda for today. Initially allow us a few moments to introduce ourselves. Who is Edvancer? What is Edvancer? And then we'll take you through a brief introduction to data science. We'll talk about, the career aspects in data science, and eventually we'll give you a brief overview of our programs which can help you create a career in this field. At the end of this session, I'll open up the floor for questions and answers. So if anyone has any questions, please kindly hold on to them till the end of this session when I tell you to ask them. Till then, I would appreciate your patience. A lot of your questions will get answered during the course of the presentation itself, and any further questions can always be taken up later. All right. So about Edvancer, Edvancer is an IMIT ISI alumni venture. And what we are is a data science knowledge hub where we meet the learning needs of all kinds of people, be it those who are new to data science like yourselves, or those who are already working in this field and want to upskill and reskill themselves with newer tools and technologies. So what we do is we provide online training in data science so that you can learn anytime and from anywhere. And how exactly you will do that, we will explain to you today. Over the last 5.5 to 6 years, we have trained more than 6,500 people globally in data science, and today all of them stand testament to our capabilities in terms of training people in this field. If any one of you has gone through the very popular blogs and magazines like Analytics India magazine or Analytics Vidya, you would notice that they have rated us as one of India's top 5 data science training institutes. And this is again a third party testament to our capabilities in terms of training people in this field. Who am I? My name is Atash Shah. I am the co-founder and CEO at Edvancer. Before starting Edvancer in 2013, I had over 6 years of experience in the investment banking industry. And now I have over 7 years of experience in education management with Edvancer. I worked with global investment banks like Lehman and Nomura, and I'm a postgraduate in management from IIM Lucknow and also an engineer from Mumbai University. My co-founder on the data science vertical is Mr. Lalit Sachan. Lalit has over 7 years experience in data science. He's worked as a data scientist handling end-to-end projects, and he's completed his post-graduation from ISI Kolkata and is a BTech from IIT Kanpur. So that is how we are an IIT ISI alumni company. So, today there's a lot of discussion and hype about data science. I'm sure all of you here have heard about data science, and obviously that's why you are here to know more about it too. But what exactly is data science? Before I answer that question, I would like to know from you what you think is data science. So let's make this session a bit more interactive, and why don't you guys put in your thoughts as to what is data science into the chat, and I'll read out some of the responses for others. All right, so I'll just pause here for a few seconds, maybe a minute or two, to gather your responses and then move further from there. So whatever be your responses, put them in the chat box or the questions box. Go ahead, guys. Whatever be your thoughts, let's hear them out. It may be right, it may be wrong, it doesn't matter at all. So Balaji says it's a collection of certain data. All right. I mean, a collection of data. Um, just give me a second, please. Right. Sorry about that. There was some network connection issue at my end. Right. So Balaji says it is a collection of certain data. Okay, but that's not exactly what data science is. Ramakrishna says working with huge data. Okay, what do you do with that huge data is the point. Himadri says data science is an interdisciplinary field about processes and systems to extract knowledge or insights from data in various forms. Okay. Himadri, you have taken this definition, I guess, from Wikipedia or somewhere, right? But what I want to know is your understanding of it, not what Wikipedia understands from it. Joydeep says data science is science of analyzing large amount of unstructured data using machine learning and AI to derive insights and predict future trends or market business direction. Okay, again, I guess a definition taken from somewhere, not exactly your thoughts alone. Krishna Kumar says, I think data science is a tool to achieve artificial intelligence by using data. Okay. Snehal says analytical study of data with the use of different softwares or applications. Omkar says it's used to analyze and summarize data. Sriram says data science is relating all management of huge data, which is gathered by the user. Okay. Akshay says data science is solving business problems with the data available in the organization to make it valuable data. Okay, so Akshay, you have got part of it. The second part is not exactly where you need to head to. But anyways, I have received a lot of responses here, so I'm not going to, speak them out aloud, each and every one. I'll just, move on to now explaining from my end what I believe is data science and what does it actually all mean. So what is data science? It is the application of computer technology, statistics and mathematics, and domain knowledge to solve problems in business and industry to aid efficient and effective decision making. This is a pretty long definition, right? Let's break it down into various parts to understand it better. So, what is data science? It is the application of three things: computer technology, statistics and maths, and domain knowledge. So, why computer technology? So this is the technology that is used right from the point of collecting data, storing that data, processing that data to make it suitable for analysis, analyzing that data, bringing out the insights from that data or whatever your end goal is towards analyzing the data, deploying those, creating a strategy out of those insights and deploying that strategy in business. So it is the end-to-end use of technology which happens in data science. Today we are not talking about data which can be fit into a few rows and columns and a small Excel sheet. We are talking about data which is in the order of hundreds of gigabytes, terabytes, and even petabytes for many organizations. Uh, so that is where a lot of computer technology comes into play, and it is, again, as I mentioned, an end-to-end usage of this technology, which is what is used in data science and which is what we apply to work in data science. And a lot of this technology you need to learn to become a data scientist going forward. Statistics and mathematics, stats and maths is uh, are the areas which provide us the tools or algorithms which are actually used in analyzing the data. They provide us the techniques through which we can make sense out of that data, right? So there are many techniques. There are probably virtually hundreds of different techniques and algorithms which can be used to actually analyze data, though there are a few handful very popular ones which can be applied across any kind of business problem. And that is again something that you need to learn as a data scientist: what kind of technique and algorithm to use for what kind of problem, and when and how to use it, what are the pros and cons of using those techniques, and how to adjust for the same. So that is what a data scientist needs to learn. Apart from the technology, it is about understanding the applications of these techniques. And finally, domain knowledge. Domain knowledge is the knowledge of the business or the industry for which you are actually solving this problem. It is the knowledge of the company for which you may be, working for. So domain knowledge enables you to understand more about, what kind of data is important, what kind of data is not important as far as analyzing it is concerned. And that is something which is quite important to make sure that what you have at the end is a good analysis, a good, relevant, and accurate analysis. So just technology and statistics and mathematics alone may not help in many cases. In many cases, you would need to understand the business problem in depth, and that is only possible if you understand the domain area also. So data science is the application of these three things put together. So it is not just technology by itself, it is not just statistics by itself, it is not just business by itself. It is a combination of three things working together which creates this entire field of data science. And why are we, combining these three areas? Why are we applying these three areas? It is to solve problems in business and industry. Today businesses and companies face a lot of challenges and problems which they need to solve on a daily basis, and this could be across any kind of vertical within the business. It could be related to sales, it could be related to marketing, it could be in HR or finance or supply chain, logistics, any kind of area of business. There are always problems and challenges to be solved, and that is where, if you have the data, then you can use data science to very accurately solve these problems and make sense out of it. And eventually, why are we doing this? It is to aid efficient and effective decision making, right? So we are solving problems. In the end, the solution of those problems is to take a decision. It is to decide something or create a strategy. How can you make these decisions more effective and efficient? How can you make these decisions more accurate? That is only through the analysis of data. Today, data science has moved decision making from gut feel and guess estimates and the intuition and experience of the manager taking the decision to better, more informed ones driven by data, right? So, data science is nothing but a scientific process of converting raw data into knowledge to support this decision making. And the goal of data science is to improve performance, be it that of business, society, or even at a personal level by gaining the knowledge from the data. Guys, just hold on to your questions. I'll be taking up questions towards the end, especially course related ones. So let's take the examples of how data science is being used across various industries and various areas. Um, you know, Before I begin on these examples, let me say that these are very few chosen examples from very few chosen areas. Apart from these, data science has a lot of usage across many different industries, across many different verticals, and whatever be the problem, as long as you have data available, you can solve the problem using data science. So let's take the example of the sales vertical. I mean, sales is applicable across any industry in this world, right? Whatever you have, a product or a service needs to be sold. So this is something which is, probably applicable across every industry today. How can data science be used in sales? So let's take the example that you're working for a consumer company which has maybe hundreds of thousands of customers. You come up with a new product and you need to market this new product to, apart from outsiders, even your existing customers. What will you do? Will you go out and market and sell this product to each and every one of your hundreds of thousands of customers? Yes, you can do that, right? You can always market to each and every one of them, send out mailers, send out SMSs, get your sales team to start calling them, etc. But is that efficient? Is that going to result in a good return on investment? Probably not, because you're spending a lot of time, money, and resources in reaching out to each and every person. And eventually, in business, a certain number of people are only going to purchase that new product from you. So essentially, you have spent marketing to each and every person, but only a certain small subset of it is going to get converted into purchasing that product. So your ROI is not going to be very high. How can you increase this return on investment? Is it possible that you figure out that out of these hundreds of thousands of existing customers, which of them are most likely to purchase this product? And then only market to them. Yes, it is possible through data science. So you can analyze the historical data of your customers, right? Be it demographic data or be it purchase patterns with you. How often do they purchase? What do they purchase? When do they purchase? How frequently do they purchase? And many, many other data points that you may have gathered in your interactions with them, right? You can analyze all this data, and based on this analysis, you can actually figure out who is most likely to purchase this new product from you. And then market only to that certain subset. Maybe you figure out that, there are only 50,000 people who are most suitable for this new product. Then you market only to those 50,000, and maybe you achieve, you are able to sell to about 30,000 of them. Imagine how much you have increased your ROI by doing so, right? Instead of marketing to maybe 500,000 people, now you are marketing only to 50,000, which is at 1/10 the cost, which means by marketing to 500,000, you might have got 40,000 buyers. Now you have got 30,000 buyers, but you have increased your ROI probably by 7 to 8 times. That's right. So this is how data science can be put into use in, let's say, the sales vertical or probably the marketing area. Let's take another example, that of the telecom industry. Today, because of mobile number portability, telecom companies have faced a lot of churn, right? What is churn? Churn is one customer, your customer, leaving your service and moving to another service provider, right? So if you move from Vodafone to Airtel, that's churn for Vodafone. So these telecom companies want to make sure that the churn is kept to as minimum a level as possible, because higher churn means loss of revenues and also increased cost in terms of getting new customers to fill those gaps. So obviously telecom companies want to know how to reduce this churn. So how can they do that? Is it possible for these companies to be able to predict which of their existing customers are most likely to leave their service, let's say in the next 2 weeks or a month or the next 3 months? Yes, it is possible now through data science. Through data science, you can actually analyze again the historical data of your customers who have left your service in the past and those who have remained with you, right? And figure out why those customers who left you actually left, what were the reasons behind it, what were the common data points that they had, common patterns they had, and do those patterns exist in your current customers? For which of your current customers do those data points exist or patterns exist? Now think about this. A telecom company is sitting actually on terabytes of data. Every interaction that you do with the company is actually a data for them, be it a call that you make or an SMS that you send or the data that you use, internet that you use. All of those interactions are data for them, and they are actually collected and stored. Whether you call their customer care, when you're calling their customer care, your call is being recorded. Those recordings are stored. That is data. Those recordings are actually transcribed into text and stored also. So all of these data points exist with them, and they are sitting on terabytes of such data, and they have to actually analyze such humongous amount of data to be able to figure out which of their existing customers are most likely to leave their service, let's say in the next 1 month. Once they predict that, then they can go on to those customers who have a high probability of leaving the service and say, look, we understand there's a problem, here's what we can do about it, or maybe here's an offer for you to stay with us, right? So that way they can reduce their churn by knowing who is going to churn. Otherwise, you'll have to give out offers to each and every one of your customers for them to stay back, right? So this is how data science, an example of one use case of data science in the telecom industry. Let's take the example of the financial services industry, banks, or any financial services company. When you go to a bank for a loan or a credit card, do they just give out that loan or credit card to you just like that? No. They take a lot of information about you. They ask you to submit documents like income statements, like bank statements, like various proofs, ID proofs, address proofs, etc. They ask you to fill up certain forms where they collect details about you. Why are they doing that? They are doing that to understand, are you going to default on their loan in the future, or are you going to repay it on time, right? So only if they think that you're going to repay it on time are they going to give you the loan. And that is where, again, data science comes into the picture. Should I or should I not give this person a loan? This is based on a statistical model which is created on historical data of customers who have defaulted in the past, who have paid their loans on time, and those who have delayed their payments. So on all of these customers, the data is actually analyzed, and it is seen as to what kind of data points are the most common for people who have defaulted or delayed their payments, and do those data points also exist in your application. If it does, then sorry, we can't give you a loan. If it doesn't and everything is fine, then yeah, why not? We'll give you a loan, right? And all of this is done based on a certain score called as a credit score. So this credit score tells the bank how good you are in terms of repaying your loans. Anyone heard of something called a CIBIL score? CIBIL. Anyone here heard of CIBIL? Yes, says Ramakrishna. Sandesh. Okay, Joydeep. Yeah, wonderful. So yes, so some of you have heard of CIBIL, some of you have not. So CIBIL is the Credit Information Bureau of India Limited. Whenever you take any loan or credit card from a bank, CIBIL is sent this information about you, your repayment history, your repayment patterns, even your mobile bill payments. All of this data is collected by CIBIL, and CIBIL comes up with a score for you, which says how good a risk you are, right? So higher the score means you are, a very good risk, and you are going to repay your loan on time. Lower the score, lower the possibility that you are going to pay your loan on time, right? So this is how banks determine whether to give you a loan or a credit card or not. Let's take another example from the retail industry, and retail is now so common online, right? All of us have used Amazon or Flipkart or Snapdeal or Paytm Mall, etc. Even I think this is an example which is relevant for things like Netflix or Amazon Prime Video, etc. Which is where when you're browsing something, let's say a product on Amazon or various shows and movies on Netflix, you see things like recommended for you, right? These products are recommended for you. How do these organizations come up with such recommendations? Think about this. I mean, Amazon has tens of millions of customers. It sells lakhs of different kinds of products. How does it come up with 10 to 15 specific products to showcase to you in particular? If you are sitting next to your friend and both of you are browsing Amazon and both of you may be seeing the same product, it is quite possible that the products recommended for you and products recommended for him may be slightly different. How does that happen? It happens through data science, or in specific something called as machine learning or a recommendation engine. So these sites are collecting a lot of data about you as you are browsing their sites, right? What are you doing there? What kind of products are you seeing? What kind of products are you purchasing? What kind of products you have purchased in the past? What other people who have seen these same products, what other products have they seen? What kind of people are similar to you in terms of your purchase patterns or the things that you purchase, and what have they done in the future after that? So a lot of data is being collected about you and other people alongside you, and based on the analysis of this data, the recommendation engine actually puts out pick certain products and says that these are something which you are most likely to want to look at. Now think about this, that more accurate the recommendations, more likely you are to browse that product, see that product, and more likely that you see it, more likely it is that you are going to purchase it, right? So these recommendations, higher the accuracy, it results in higher revenues for these sites, which means the recommendations truly need to be accurate, and the data analysis and data science behind making these recommendations also needs to be very, very good and very high end, right? So that's how data science is being used, let's say, in the online retail industry, or in the banking industry, or in telecom, or in the sales vertical, right? So a lot of business problems can be solved like this, or new things can become, companies can actually come up with new things altogether. For instance, a recommendation engine is something quite new, right? I mean, in the sense, maybe about 10, 12 years old. So you can actually come up with new things and solve a lot of your business problems using data science. And that is why there is such a lot of interest around the world in this area. So data science can be used in every industry, be it manufacturing or education or supply chain or insurance, real estate, airlines, pharma, healthcare, media, advertising, everywhere. Data science can be used everywhere, wherever there is data. So you're not restricted to working in any particular industry or organization. As a data scientist, your skills are transferable from one industry to another as long as you put in the effort to understand something about that industry. So what are some of the tools and technologies that are most frequently used in this field by data scientists? Right? To do all this work, to analyze all this data, create things like machine learning models or statistical models, what does a data scientist actually use? So the two most popular tools or languages which are used in this field are called as R and Python. R and Python are both open source languages in through which you can actually analyze data and make sense out of it, create these models, and make predictions for the future. R is a language which has been specifically created for creating statistical models and undertaking statistical analysis of data. Python obviously is a full-fledged programming language, but it has a lot of libraries which are specifically meant only for data science and machine learning. And today, almost most of the machine learning work around the world is done on Python, and even a lot of the artificial intelligence work is done on Python. So between R and Python, they hold 90% of the market share as far as data science is concerned. Apart from these, there are other popular, tools and frameworks like Hadoop and Spark, which are used to store, manage, and process humongous amounts of data, mainly unstructured data. So if you have a terabyte of unstructured data, which is basically data in various formats like text, video, audio, not necessarily numbers, then you will need to use probably Hadoop or Spark to store such data and process it in very, very quick time. Then there is SQL. SQL is something which every data analyst or data scientist needs to know, because SQL is a language which is very easy, frankly, but it is a language which is used to interact with databases. And obviously, when you are a data scientist, you are going to work with data which is stored in databases or data warehouses. So as a data scientist, you will need to know how to extract the data from those databases, make use of it, and put it back in the database. And that is where SQL comes into the picture. And finally, there are data visualization tools, one of the most popular one being Tableau. So these data visualization tools are used to create interactive charts and tables and various visualizations of the data, so that you can present it to management and tell them what is happening in the business at that point of time or in the past in one glance. So these data visualization tools can't really do, predictions, but it can tell you what has happened in the past or is happening at the moment in very simple and easy to understand interactive visualizations. I'll just take up your questions, guys, shortly. Just hold on to your questions. So let's get into the careers aspect, right? I'm sure all of you are interested in knowing more about this. So what's the market buzz on data science? The worldwide big data analytics market is set to grow from $203 billion from $130 billion by 2020, which is next year. That is a tremendous growth rate, and this is as per the International Data Corporation. A survey by EY, which is the global consulting company, says that 56% of senior professionals or management say lack of talent is the biggest barrier to the implementation of data science and AI in their organizations, which means these companies are actually struggling to hire good, skilled people in this field, and that is what is preventing them from implementing more of data science and AI in their organizations. IBM talks about the annual demand for data scientists, developers, and data engineers reaching nearly 700,000 openings by 2020. And that's a very large figure, a very, very large figure across the world. A survey by Analytics India magazine talks about 97,000 positions being advertised every month this year related to analytics and data science. Again, that's a very high number. Imagine almost 100,000 openings being advertised every month across the world. There are hardly people to fill these kind of openings. Times of India talks about data scientists earning much more than CAs and IT professionals, and that is the absolute truth. Data scientists are getting paid quite a lot. And Economic Times talked about a 400% increase in demand in India for AI and data science skills. So all across you can see companies, organizations, media talking about huge demand for people with data science skill sets. And that is where, salaries are also increasing quite a lot. So what exactly does the data say? So if you look at this job study done by Analytics India magazine, what this is the kind of graph in terms of open analytics jobs being advertised in India around the world, in India every month. And this is the kind of graph which is constantly growing and will continue growing as time goes by. With this huge demand for data scientists, there is actually a huge shortage also of trained and skilled data scientists. And companies are really struggling to fill their positions. It is taking them months and months to hire any kind of data scientist. And that is where salaries are also going up, because companies are really keen to have people on board, and they are happy to pay for that, because the impact of the work done by a data scientist is significant on a company's fortunes. You may pay a data scientist 30 lakhs, but the impact he can have on your business is in the tens or hundreds of crores. So what can data scientists expect to earn in India? At the absolute fresher level, people straight out of colleges can expect to earn between 6 to 8 lakhs per annum if you are probably doing your masters. If you have done your bachelor's, that would be probably 4 to 6 lakhs per annum. But compare that with what you would get in the IT industry, which is about 2.5 to 3 at max, right? So that's significantly higher than what the IT industry provides to a fresher. If you have anything between 3 to 5 years of experience, you will get something like 15 to 25 lakhs per annum, right? And that's again much more than what someone with 3 to 5 years experience in the IT industry gets. And finally, if you have more than 5 years experience, you will expect to earn at least 25 or more every year. And I know several people who have 5 6 years of experience and are getting in the region of 40 to 50 lakhs per annum too. So quite clearly, there is a lot of demand for people. There is a shortage of people in this industry, and salaries are very high. What other things are there as far as jobs are concerned? So which city is actually creating these jobs? In which city will you find more of data science jobs? So just like Bangalore is the IT hub, it is also the data science hub, and most number of jobs are being created in Bangalore today. Almost 25% of jobs in data science in India are in Bangalore, and closely followed by the National Capital Region and then Mumbai. So between these three areas, close to, I would say, 60% of jobs are there in these three cities. What kind of experience levels do companies require? So if you look at the chart on the bottom left corner, you would see that jobs are actually spread across experience levels. So for those with less than 1 year of experience, which is basically freshers, you at least 20 to 22% of the jobs exist for such kind of people. Those between about 1 to 5 years of experience, almost 50% of, 47% of the jobs are for such kind of people between 1 to 5 years experience. For those between 5 to 10 years of experience, about 27% of jobs are for those between 5 to 7 years experience, right? And 10 plus years of experience also, there are at least 5% of jobs are for senior folks, people who can actually manage and lead teams and drive business. So across the board, jobs are available for anyone who is skilled in data science. What kind of tools do companies mainly look for? So the most common tools, again, as I mentioned earlier, are Python and R. And finally, what kind of companies are creating most of these jobs? So it is the MNC, IT, and KPO service providers where most of the jobs exist, followed by domestic IT and KPO service companies, followed by consulting firms, and then captive centers and corporates in India. So if you talk about MNC, IT, and KPO service providers, so companies like Accenture, IBM, Capgemini, various other organizations, these are creating a lot of jobs in data science. So let me quickly take you through a couple of our programs which will help you create a career in data science, which will help you skill up, gain all the knowledge that you need, and then get a job in data science. So the Certified Data Science Specialist course is the flagship program where you learn how to become a full stack data scientist. Here you learn how to solve business problems through analytics and machine learning using various tools such as SQL, R, and Python. So when we talk about a full stack data scientist, what we mean is someone who is well versed with all the relevant tools that are required in this industry and all the relevant statistical and mathematical techniques and how to actually combine them and solve business problems, right? So we don't just teach you the concepts and theory separately and the tools in isolation. We are teaching you both of them and combining them to help you understand actually how to solve business problems, because that is what companies want you to know. They want you to be able to take a business problem and solve it using data science. So how you do that is by learning through over 20 real world case studies, and apart from that you get to work on 9 real world projects. And by working on those projects, you can actually put them on your CV and create a data science ready CV. The course will create data scientists who are well armed to deliver on the job on day one, right? Suppose this program, you don't actually need to be trained by anyone else. You are pretty much all set to start working on various business problems that your organization may have. And that is what companies actually love, because they don't want to spend time and money training you, right, in data science. They would rather hire trained people. Obviously, their first choice is someone who comes with experience, but given the huge demand and the lack of shortage of experienced professionals, their next best bet is to hire someone who is trained in data science, so that they don't at least need to waste time in training you on all these skills. The course is actually designed by industry veterans who have more than 30 years of experience between them, and they know exactly what companies require from their hires, and that is what they have put into this program too. What exactly are you going to learn in this certified data science specialist program? So initially, we'll take you again through a bigger introduction to data science. We'll discuss how a data science project actually works through a real world case study. Then we'll take you through the basics of the R tool, fundamentals of R, for about 9 to 10 hours. Then we'll set the base for analytics, which is basic statistics, data visualization, data cleaning, all in R. And we'll spend about 15 hours just on these basics. So, this is where we say that you don't need to come with any kind of prior knowledge of any of these tools or areas, because we are spending almost 25 hours training you just on the basics of that. Then we will move on to the core of the course, which is predictive analytics, where you will learn advanced statistical techniques of analyzing data using various real world case studies for about 30 hours or so. And then there will be machine learning. We'll move on to machine learning in Python, where again we'll train you on the basics of Python, we'll train you on the basics of machine learning, and then move on to various machine learning techniques. So that will be for about another 60 to 66 hours. So all in total, you will have 126 hours of learning plus 24 hours of videos to go through. Who are our faculty? So these are all industry professionals who have 3 to 10 years of experience in data science between them. 3 to 10 years of experience in data science across various domains. So they have worked across various verticals, industries, in marketing, in supply chain, in BFSI, in telecom, retail, etc. So they are very highly experienced in data science, and they have a good knowledge about this subject. But apart from that, they also have a lot of training experience. They have worked with us for years, and they have got years of training experience, trained thousands of students between them, and they know exactly not just the subject, but also how to impart the knowledge of this subject to people who are new to it, right? How to explain certain concepts to people who are new to it, like yourself. So that is a very important skill from a faculty perspective, and our faculty actually excel in that. They come from some of the best institutes in terms of their backgrounds, like IITs, ISIs, NITs, etc., and other top universities of this country. So they are, the cream of this industry who will be teaching you. And that is where I can proudly say that some of the best faculty in the industry today work with Edvancer. So who are our corporate clients? So we work with the who's who of the corporate world, Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies, in terms of training their people in data science and data analytics, and apart from that, also helping them hire from our student and alumni base. So we work with companies like EY, PwC, Deloitte, Microsoft, HP, GE, Genpact, Colgate, and apart from this, many other companies we work with. So we provide them the same program that you will be going through, and we provide their employees the same certification that you will be getting, and that is where our certificate is highly industry recognized. So thanks for being patient enough in listening to me so far. So for all of you who are attending this webinar, you get a free course on text analytics or risk analytics or data visualization in Tableau on enrolling for any of our specialization programs by 23rd of October. Right. So before I open up the floor for Q&A, there are some frequently asked questions which I'd like to address upfront so that you don't need to ask them. So the first, a very frequently asked question is, do the courses require a programming or a statistical or a mathematical background? And the answer is no. Having such a background is not essential because we are teaching everything from the basics onwards. And hence, as long as you practice and revise, you will be able to learn very well and be able to cope with it. The other question is, how will data science, data analytics, or these courses help my career? Right? Now, that's a question that I usually find a bit strange because what do you actually require from your career? You want a career where you are growing, quickly over the years, where you are not stagnant in a certain place or a certain position doing the same thing over and over again. You want good salary, right? Everyone wants a good salary and to be paid well. And you want to do work which is interesting and where you feel, well used and meaningful. Data science provides all of these three things. It is an industry which is growing very rapidly, growing very quickly. Technologies and tools keep changing, and hence the career growth is also going to be very fast. The salaries I have already explained are already higher than many other industries and many other areas of work. So obviously you are being paid well, and as you grow, you are going to be paid even better. And finally, the work that you are doing in data science is actually impacting the fortunes of the companies for which you are actually implementing these projects. And there you'll be working with, the top management of these companies also. So the work that you are doing is very impactful and hence going to be very, very satisfying. So why would you not want to shift your career to data science is what I would like to know, right? There's no reason why anyone shouldn't want to shift their career to data science. What is the salary I can expect after the courses? Now, that is typically a question that cannot be very accurately answered because it really depends on a lot of factors. But what we have seen is that our students get anything between a 40 to 100% pay hike in their salaries. And your salary depends on your background, what you have done in the past, and of course, the company which is hiring, what it is hiring for, etc. Which course should I opt for? Now, should I go for data science? Should I go for data analytics? Or should I go in for, our other specialization, which is a comprehensive course on artificial intelligence? So while it depends on your career needs, to keep it very simple, if you have an engineering or a technical background, choose the data science specialization course. And if you're from a non-tech or an MBA background, choose the data analytics specialization course, right? Because in data analytics, then you don't need to learn Python and machine learning, which may be slightly more technical for those who have never done anything technical in their life. Do you provide placement assistance? Yes. Firstly, we help you with your resume preparation, interview preparation, and also lots of companies from top IT companies to a lot of startups to mid-sized companies come to us to hire our students. And what we do is we keep you updated on such opportunities via email. And if you're interested in applying for these opportunities, you can send us your CVs. We will forward these CVs across to these companies, and then they will shortlist you for interviews going forward, right? Based on their requirements. So that is how we will keep assisting you. We keep sending out, opportunities on a weekly basis, and we keep conducting, scheduling tests and interviews for our students. And a lot of our students get placed on a monthly basis. So I'll open up the floor for questions and answers now. And in the meanwhile, you can just look at a few examples of how our students have made the shift from whatever they were doing earlier to being a data scientist or a data analyst. All right.